And if you don't know the word there, it wouldn't seem to me that it is, but if that's what it is in the bylaws.
Candidates, maybe candidates?
Yes, too. So should two candidates emerge from the convention, party officers, including national committee men, and national committee women, and paid staff shall remain neutral until a Republican candidate has been selected in a primary election. What we need is just something very clearly that says, in number one, should one individual come out of the convention, then they don't have to be neutral. Should more than one individual come out of the convention, then they have to be neutral.
Okay, and which one is the one that you're eliminating?
Number two, neutrality regarding convention nominee and other non-convention Republicans. Party officers included may fully support.
Okay, so that is somebody who, so that is when somebody is taking a signature route only and not coming through the convention. That one gives us the right to support our nominee that comes out of convention over avoided our convention.
But doesn't number one do that?
No, not in no. Number one is only if there's one person.
Well, the way I read that, and maybe we're saying the same thing here, but the way I read number one, so if you don't have a petition candidate, only one person of the convention, there's no primary in which to support the individual.
Right.
So number one, in my mind, assumes petition candidate, because otherwise there's no point in endorsing the convention candidate because that person's already won.
Well, number two addresses a tad. And that's the situation where unless we spell it out, we don't really have the protection of putting our support behind our only candidate.
Okay, just a minute. Willie, go to Willie. Okay, Willie.
I want to speak to Joni's point right there on number two. Two things you have to consider. One, if it's well spelled out, we are protecting ourselves in the future because it says specifically that we can do that and support a convention nominee over a non-convention nominee. It's imperative that wording is in there for protection purposes. And number two, I think it's imperative to have it in there as a show of support for anybody that does come through the convention system. That they know that's going to be the case, and that makes it more attractive to do it. So we're attracting more people, and we're making a case here that protects us from anybody coming back and saying, "Hey, you can't do that." Well, yeah, it does.
Yeah. Part of the criticism we received is, that we don't come out and fully support our nominee, but we risk the fact that specifically we're supposed to show neutrality toward all candidates. This permission, just like you're saying, it gives us permission if somebody goes the signature-only route and totally disses the caucus system. They know going in that they're not going to be able to follow up with a lawsuit against us because we didn't give them the same level of support.
Then I would just, either way, I don't think you need one and two. I would change what I said on number one then to should one individual emerge from the convention and additional candidates qualify for the primary through the petition process. Party officers, including national committeemen, national committee women, and paid staff may fully support the convention nominee through the primary election. I don't think you need, like I said, I think one assumes
that there is a petition candidate, but I don't think you need both. I mean, I guess you can put both in there, but
I just think that I really do believe that 1, 2, and 3 address all possibilities that we've ever had in the past, will have in the future, and even if we do have a law change, it will.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. You entered no digits. Please re-enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. You entered no digits. Please re-enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. You entered no digits. We aren't receiving your number entry due to a possible issue with your phone carrier. Please hang up and dial another provided phone number or try dialing from an... Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash sign.
Okay, I can understand and see where you're coming from. But let me put it this way. This is not ready to go forward, in my mind, in a clear and concise way to the FCC. Unless there is some reason it must be presented at this next meeting, my recommendation would be to send it back to Joni for some reworking of it. And you can come to the committee or individuals on the committee and have us help you, Joni, to make sure it's clear. But I don't think we can spend any more time trying to correct something that needed to be corrected in the first place.
Well, I make a motion that we forward Joni's proposal to the SEC with a favorable recommendation.
Yeah, I think they can decide if they think it's ready or not. What about if you? I don't know. It just seems like be willing to get with them and see if Joni and yours compare it, and then possibly send it. Are we going to send in 2 or 1? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything.
Our job is to decide.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor from Peter that he wants to send this motion with approval from the team. So I think we need to have a discussion, or we need to vote on that. Any discussion?
Joni, can you revise it and then do it anyway?
No,
Every reason is taking that. Revising other than the one sentence being that is the same in all 3 being put in the main sentence.
Let's vote on it. Okay?
That's just a technical thing.
It needs to be discussed so we can move on. We've got lots of business to take care of tonight.
Okay, I didn't call you guys. You called me.
Yeah, I know. And I appreciate you calling us because we needed clarification from you, Joni. But what we need to now as a committee decide what we want to do with your motion. Whether we want to forward it with our recommendations or forward it with not being recommended. Okay? That's where we are.
Was Peter's motion to forward it as recommendation?
Okay, so we need to vote on that. Of the voting members, I'm assuming, Peter, you're voting for that yourself. Is that correct?
I will vote.
Yes, okay. All in favor of that vote, that recommendation, raise your hand. All against, raise your hand.
I'm gonna abstain since I have a competing motion. So once again, I'm happy to work with Joni in the future on that with our two proposals. So.
Who said that? Is that Don? Is that Don?
Yes,
Because I emailed Don twice and he hasn't responded.
I'm not getting your emails because I emailed you and I didn't get a response back. So I emailed you last week.
Actually, you did because you replied to my last email.
For my response, I'm not arguing. I'm willing to work with you. That's all I'm saying.
And I've emailed, so please call me back if you want to work with me.
Thank you so much, Joanne, and for going and
results of the vote.
The results of the vote were 3 against, 2 for, and 1 abstain. So on that, Joni, you can decide whether you want to. You could move it to revised and come out the next subcommittee, or you can just take it forward without our recommendation.
So it can go to the State Central Committee at the next meeting without a recommendation?
Yes, it can. Phil?
Okay, I would move to do that.
Okay,
Well,
Phil?
that needs to come from the committee to do that. But, Joni, I'm going to say, I like the resolution. You don't like it. We just want to see stuff that comes through to make sure that it's not confusing so that it gets torn up in the State Central Committee. That's all. So I like the motion. I just think that anything that we support as a committee, we need to make sure that it's written in a way that it's not ambiguous and it's not going to take a long time in the SEC. So just so you know, I support what you've done. I just think it needs to be tweaked.
Well, I'll be happy to tweak it.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you for calling in. And, and I think before you called in, we all agreed that it was an important issue, and we agreed with the principles. It's just the writing of them that's not quite there. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Next will be 102 neutrality, and this is Don's proposal.
This is one I sent over to you last night because I got some feedback and we worked. Basically, what I took is basically had in Davis County to add to our bylaws. What this basically says, and I'll just read it. Hope you all got the new one for today, but it basically states: State party officers, national committee members, and paid staff shall remain publicly neutral with regard to all Republican candidates who receive more than 40% of the vote at the county or state convention until after the primary election. We're taking out the language about, I had the language back in, this neutrality requirement shall not apply to the U.S. presidential race. What Joni is doing, I think this is a better way to go about it. Simply because we don't have to have so many what ifs and what scenarios. It basically says that if candidates in a convention and they get more than 40% of the vote, our party officers have to stay neutral. If they don't, then they don't. So, for example, with the CD3 election that we just recently had, let's say Deanna Henderson had gotten signatures, and so we had our current rules where the winner, where Chris Herod got out of the convention, but let's say Deirdre had gotten signatures, but she got 45% of the vote. I believe in that scenario because without SB 54, she would have been in the primary anyway, and our party officers would have been neutral. I think this is a cleaner way of taking care of it. Encourage for people to participate in convention and really try. The reason I have the threshold in there, because I've had some people say, hey, it should be 30. That's something that's easily tweakable as we change thresholds, if that ever comes up in the future. Why I took the tact I had. So basically trying to do what Joni had done, but basically in one paragraph, and just basically saying that if let's say someone got 35% in convention and gather signatures in the primary, the party officers actually endorse their opponent if the opponent had got 65%, etc. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Hey, questions?
I'd like to just looking at it is the we're trying to merge this group on just because I think in order it's extremely important to me to make sure that we're protected so nobody can come back and say, hey, I didn't understand that or I didn't say that. I like what Joni said about or non-convention candidates. I'm kind of like Janine here. I think we can some way, shape, or form doing what you're doing to make a complete thing, make a complete. I just want to err on the side of again looking like we're supporting the convention candidates, and err on the side of nobody can come back and say that's not what it says.
Right.
So I kind of like what you got here. I'm not against it. I'm just thinking what you've got's good, you don't have, and vice versa. I wonder if we can come up with something, put those two things together and get it done.
As I said, I'm happy to, it sounded like she didn't like my threshold option. As I said, I personally like the threshold option simply because it gives a carrot for people to participate. Just for example, I keep going to CD3, and I wasn't in CD3, so I may be 100% off on this, but to me it did look like, Curtis really gave any attention to the convention. He participated, but he got 9% of the vote in the first round of voting, but he really spent a lot of time, get convention delegates, especially he's a good politician, he won the primary. So my intent is to give people a carrot to participate. And trying to also look at scenarios, once again, like the scenario of Deidre Henderson. If Deidre mentioned she worked hard for it, but let's say she had signatures, I don't necessarily feel that our party officer should have been in that situation. And part of this, to be blunt, it's kind of basically does SB 54 exist? This is the world SB 54 didn't exist. So to me, it strengthens our legal challenge in a lot of respects because, once again, you're basically playing with the thresholds that already are in our party documents. So,
I've got a few concerns. We've already mentioned the threshold. In order to change in the future, be able to change our threshold in the future. And so then we have to go through, change more sections of our documents. Also, why are we including county parties in this? It's always applied just to the state ones. Why are we throwing in counties? I don't think we should do that. If the county parties, we should be allowing them maximum flexibility to set their own bylaws and guidelines.
Can I answer that question, Peter, on the counties? This has nothing to do with this section has nothing to do with county party officers. This is strictly regarding state party officers, state party chairman, vice chair, secretary.
Right. But it throws in county parties.
I know, because it's stating that saying the state party could get involved, for example, in Davis County, where we had the election of the county commission candidate and candidate in 2016. The party officers could have endorsed, and they could have endorsed the candidate. And
but why can't the county party create their own bylaw?
Yeah, there's nothing. This bylaw has nothing to do with county party officers at all. Well, it's only, as I said, state party officers, any members and paid staff, so it has no impact on county delegates, on county.
Right, but we're expanding the limitation to another level that it's never been done before. And the county parties can do their own bylaw to prohibit that.
state. This is dictating simply the state party officers. It has nothing to do with the county. So, for example,
expanding it to another level.
Well, can I give you this scenario? Can I give you the scenario what happened? This is a real life scenario we had.
I know what you're saying, but we're expanding it to another level.
I know, but
I'm very hesitant to do that.
Peter, just a minute. Let him finish his statement, and then you can go say what you need to say.
We had a real life scenario, not only back a few years, and I guess I won't name names because I don't know if anyone's on, but we had a situation where a state party officer actually endorsed and used their party position to endorse somebody in a county race. And it was quite a big discussion. This is nothing to do with county parties. State party officers dictating to state party officers, and counties are free to do whatever they choose to do. So
I think that it's designated in the first sentence. State party officers, national committee members, and paid staff shall. And so it has not anything to do with what the counties do, but what the state officers and so forth.
And what it's saying there, those individuals on that level can support people in a county or state convention, but it's not, as I read it, it's not saying what the county has to do. It's saying what the state party officers can do in a county or state election.
Right. Isn't that an expansion? A limitation or not?
I don't know, because it doesn't really say that what the county has to do. It's just it's allowing officers to support county candidates. It's not saying.
And why can't a state party officer, if they live in the county, they're not a county party officer? Why are we limiting them from their involvement in the county elections?
This is actually allowing them to be involved in the county election.
Yeah, it's allowing them
to. It's allowing them to.
It restricts a little bit.
No, it doesn't restrict them at all.
No.
Well, it says they can't get involved until after the primary. But
It says as a candidate,
county delegate, they can't go up and stand with the candidate of choice.
I would personally disagree with the state party officer endorsing someone at a county convention. I think that's actually already in the bylaw. Already the bylaw states that they cannot publicly or oppose any Republican candidate for partisan public office in Utah, while the candidate is opposed by another Republican candidate.
No, so why don't we leave that verbiage in the bylaw? Make it clear.
Because we're actually making it open so they can do it. We're actually opening it so they can get involved in the county. We're doing the exact opposite of what you're saying it does.
Let's just get rid of neutrality.
I think this is a much more confusing bylaw proposal than Joni's as well. That's me. I think we need, at this point, I think if we're making Joni hold back on hers, Don needs to clarify some things in his as well.
Well, I'm just not sure what needs to be clarified, because
doesn't what needs to be clarified on hers either.
I'm happy to take feedback. What you're saying there is exactly the opposite about what we're trying to do.
Okay, and so it just shows that there's not a
Peter, it's filtered. We can't hear you.
Hey, get it together here, dude.
Okay, so
You're still muted.
You're still muted.
Sounds like you might.
Mime it out.
Your microphone is muted. You need to unmute your mic.
That's not it.
I actually think it might be his internet connection, because I'm seeing it's getting a little choppy.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Start hearing you for a minute there, Phil.
Connect. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can now.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we support this resolution and we advance it to the State Central Committee.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second. I guess I should have been responsible. I'll second.
Are you guys advancing it with a positive review then, or what? Not just
Yes.
advance. Okay.
Yes. Support means positive.
I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Okay. Do we have any discussion for that? I would like to make one comment before we vote on this, and that is, I believe that what is the other side of what Joni's doing. I don't think that they're all inclusive either way. I think that we need to have both portions of this change. Like what Willie said, we need to have it clear of the advantages, but also that this is also, I mean, I don't see where it's not unclear. So let's have a vote. All in favor to support it and to move it forward with a favorable recommendation, raise your hand.
I've got my hand raised. I'm trying to get my camera there.
Okay, opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, all right. Vote is 4 to 2.
I'm not opposed to it because I'm opposed to it. I just feel like it needs a little bit of clarification, and I think we can tie it together with Joni's to make it more complete to protect us. That's it.
Yeah, I felt like that. I did too.
Well, I would like to see Joni's go forward as well in terms of having it clear, but it wasn't there yet. To me, this is not unclear, but that's me. We voted. So it's 4 to 2 to go forward with a favorable recommendation.
Hey, Nick.
Okay. While I'm pulling up the next one, I want you to know that Bill Olson, who is B109, has sent into me an update on his proposal. I forwarded it on to you in an email. I have it printed, so you can print it. Just go ahead and pull that up in an email. You would?
I've got it.
Okay. And we'll go to it in a minute, but that gets down the line away. Okay.
Which one's that?
This is Lowell Nelson, and I've spoken to Lowell about this, and we spoke with him at the first meeting, and we asked him to go back, make some corrections on how he had described what he was doing before, and he has made corrections to it. This is regarding the time, was it 2 years ago? Was it his last organized convention?
The last organized.
Yeah. So there were candidates that didn't make it under the deadline because the deadline was interpreted one way for one group and the candidate had interpreted another. The party cut them off at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, and they thought the deadline should have been 5 o'clock on Thursday. So there was a candidate that was not allowed in the election, plus there were some proposals that also didn't go forward because they came at before 5 o'clock on Thursday. So what he's trying to do there, it's 2 places, it's actually 3, but it's in 2. It's in the, excuse me, in the bylaws 7.0 on the convention and elections, and then 7.5 standing convention rules. They're in both places, and he's just made the language come into line, all saying the same thing.
So basically, Janice, as I'm looking at this, I'm just seeing that it's basically saying that we go 30 days, whatever the 30 days is, and go to that Thursday, right?
Yeah, and that the deadline be Thursday at 5 o'clock. The state convention, 30 days before the platform resolutions, and 30 days before, same language all the way through. And so it designates Thursday as the date, is the deadline before 5 o'clock.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if we're open to an amendment. I might suggest confusion about the 30 days, and say that maybe we state and encourage them to say no later than 5 p.m. on the Thursday, which occurs 28 days prior to the state convention. So generally your state convention, that way it would always be that Thursday. So you just go back 4 weeks, but 4 weeks and then 2 days, and then you get the 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would make a motion that we amend that to both of those instead of 30 to 28.
Got a question on that?
Yes, Peter. Yes, Peter.
We are starting the convention on Friday this year.
No, that's not going to be the official. That's not going to be the official open. That's just like festivities, speakers, that kind of stuff. That's not actually the official convention.
And in the past, we've had 2-day conventions. Is this going to impact that? We need to make sure that we're clear so that if we say 30 days or 28 days, then we need to be clear that it's whatever date instead, so that even if we do have a 2-day convention again, we're clear. I think Don's would do that.
Yeah, I think,
Don could do that, or we could also say no later than 5 p.m. on the Thursday 4 weeks prior to state convention.
Well, I just leave it at that 28 days. That way there's no...
All right.
Because then you have to interpret what's not
Plus a week, and I feel like cleaner.
Okay, say it again for me so I can write it in.
Well, all I'm saying is we strike out his 30 and put 28 days.
Now, has Lowell agreed to this change?
No, and I can't get in touch with him, and I will connect with him. And if he does not agree to the change, then that can be an amendment that we bring forward at the State Central Committee. So my question is now at this point to Lowell, it has to go forward correct as it's written. Correct? Am I right?
No, we need to go forward with the recommendation.
In the past, has to be approved by, we don't make amendments as a committee. The sponsor has to approve them.
So I'll make a motion, a conditional motion. I'll make a conditional motion that with Lowell's approval, as long as we get Lowell's approval, that we go forward recommendation striking out that 30 and putting 28 in. So 28 days in both sections, but it has to have Lowell's approval. If we don't have Lowell's approval, then I would recommend a non-favorable recommendation, because I think it's going to start getting messy. But even if they start a convention, because I can see where Peter's coming from on that. Because there's sometimes with the law, I remember one time years ago that they had to start convention on a Friday to be in, but basically they all got together with the party chair, and I think Dana Dixon was there, and I was there, and we just said, we called the convention to order, like 4 people there, and then we recessed it, because you had to start convention by a certain day based upon the law. And then we actually had the convention on Saturday, but we had to start, but the law stated we had to start the convention. So I think saying 28 days, and I'm fairly confident Lowell will go along with it, but I think he just wants a clearer date. So.
Okay. BJ, would you call and see if you can get in touch with Lowell? I tried earlier and couldn't.
Contacted. Well, I can pull it up real quick. Hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah. You can call him and reach him. Is 28 days a problem if we count days? Maybe we need to say 4 weeks rather than 28 days.
I think days are much clearer than weeks.
Okay. Okay. If we say 28 days before on the Thursday at 5 o'clock, does that? I mean that should. Thursday, it should be okay, should it not? Okay. All right. So restate your motion, Don.
So with Lowell's approval, I move that we move this with Lowell's approval of we offer a favorable recommendation, but changing 30 to 28 sections, but to me, for this is a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous.
Wow, we got a unanimous vote.
Yay!
We're getting there. Yes. Okay, and in the case we cannot reach low, are we okay to still send it forward as a favorable recommendation and suggest to Lowe that he make that amendment to it when he presents it at the State Central Committee?
I'm probably 99% confident that Lowe will issue, because I think all Lowe's trying to do is just make sure we have a date certain, because there was that confusion last time. What constitutes a day?
So we do have until like 4 o'clock to get his confirmation tomorrow. So we have a great amount of time. Not a great amount.
So I'm just saying to you, you're all in agreement that if we don't get his agreement on the 28th and we have to go with the 30th, we will still pass it with a favorable and then talk to him ask him to make that change himself.
I believe the vote we just passed said if he agrees to this change, we support it. So Janet should be changing what we just voted on.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, we can't force him to change it. So if he doesn't change it, it goes forward, but not with our recommendation.
Well, yeah, favorable from us. Because I think if you leave that 30, it starts getting kind of messy.
Okay. Unanimous if he changes.
Yes.
So if I don't reach him or he's not available to talk to without our recommendation.
Maybe. Unfortunately, I think he may be traveling. I'm not sure if I know he was gone last week. It seemed like he was gone on a trip for a while. Last time I had a communication.
I've not been able to reach him. The next one is C105, and I just bring it to your attention because there have been a couple corrections to it. We voted at our first meeting to pass this pass it on with a favorable recommendation. But if you've got it in front of you, and we had a lengthy discussion at our first meeting about what happened with this document.
Which one is it?
105. It's the auxiliary, your auxiliary amendment, proposal amendment.
Okay.
What happened was, in the process of putting up the document onto the website, there was it's an inadvertent carriage return, or Lisa was putting things up there, and she, after the B auxiliary section and the colon there, she hit return, and it created a C. And then C had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the C wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be, C was supposed to be 1, and then the next part down was 2, and then 3, and then 4. And then Dawn has added 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you go down to the next section. That section should be C, should really be D, and F should really be D. Okay, so it was a typo. We're trying to notice that this typo needs to be corrected. And then in addition to that, then Dawn is adding some things to the proposal itself. Okay? Is everyone clear mud on that, or okay?
Yeah, no, I get it, but I wanted to make it clear that it wasn't originally part of Dawn's. You guys actually motioned to have me and Lisa you wanted me to update it, and we had that conversation about who has access to be able to update and whatnot. And so I'm glad to see that you're now sending it through the FCC, but that wasn't the original motion.
Well, that was the original discussion. Absolutely was the original discussion, but we realized...
confirming that you guys wanted wanted me to update that mislettering and whatnot. A follow-up email even from Lisa saying, hey, I need access so that way I can update this right now. I just want to make sure that's clear. Keep going. I'm glad that we're doing it the right way, but I just want to make sure that was not the original motion. Okay.
Go ahead, Don.
I will say that then there was a misunderstanding because it was always my understanding that we were recommending the changes to go through the SEC. So because I personally didn't feel comfortable with just making changes. So I think there's some misinformation or was confusion about what type, because it was always my intent for a change to be made to be approved by the SEC.
And I may have misspoken, BJ. I may have been misspoken in that meeting because I was trying to and take notes and minutes and keep track of everything with not anything printed out. So there was a little bit of confusion there. So we felt that this is anyway.
So I've got a question then.
Yes.
How about the changes that Lisa made earlier to the documents and the previous committee had told her that they were inappropriate and should not be made?
Those have not been put in.
They have been.
The only no,
Not in this proposal, but they have been put in bylaws.
I think we need to call Lisa and let the clarification for this.
Remember, you guys did motion and say that you understand why Lisa made the changes. It was just formatting, and it was just grammar and all that. And you guys voted to accept those changes.
Refused to do so. Lisa said, no, we can't. Would you please call Lisa?